Peace, family. Come on in. Drop a comment in the chat as y'all come in, man. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. Last night, it's the craziest thing happened, right? So I went live last night on here around like 9 something. And I swear I was talking for like 15, 20 minutes. And I go back to, to my playback, and the video literally cut off as soon as I, start talking. So I just don't know what was going on with that last night. So please forgive me, but I did go live last night, but I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was my connection or what. But I was talking, everything was how it is right now. And then all of a sudden I go back to look at it again, and it literally cut off. And I was dropping some nuggets too, man. But the gist of what I was saying last night is, just because it hasn't happened to you, don't think that it won't happen, or don't think that it can't happen. So whatever it is that's going on in the world, y'all drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. Whatever it is that's going on in the world, or it may be happening in another country, or it might be happening on somebody else's homestead or their farm. Never think that just because it hasn't happened to you, because it hasn't came to your front door, that it can't, that it's impossible. Because I'm telling you, like, when you have that mindset, like, well, that's just them over there, or that just happens in their region or their country. No, it can absolutely happen to you. But at the same time, you can prevent that. You can prepare yourself for certain things not happening to you if you take precautionary measures. So if you see like, oh man, there's an outbreak with a lot of this bird flu with the chickens, it hasn't affected me yet, but what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make sure I prepare my flock. I'm gonna take preventative measures. I'm gonna make sure that, if you into the vaccines or whatever with your chickens, I'm gonna make sure that I'm vaccinating my chickens. I'm gonna make sure that I'm not letting them out a lot, free ranging and stuff like that around other birds. I'm not gonna be around other birds because I don't wanna bring that back to my flock. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about knowing, like, okay, it can happen, but I'm gonna do everything in my power to prevent it from happening. So that's the gist of what I was talking about last night. Like, don't think that it can't happen to you. Don't think that it can't touch you just because it happened in the past. But y'all let me know if y'all can hear me good. I'm in the garden with it today, and I want to talk about garden. So we back in our book, Back to the Basics, right? We back in our book, Back to the Basics. And so this is part 3, and it's just talking about gardening. Gardening 101, some basics. So I want to hit a few things, and you know what I'm saying, like for beginners especially who want to start gardening. Y'all drop a comment in the chat, man, and hit that like button as well. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. Let me know where y'all tuning in from. And just want to hit a few things, right? Talking about when it comes to homesteading, like, yeah, the chickens and the livestock, all of that is fine and dandy. Don't get me wrong. I disagree with your opinion, but I'm gonna drop a like anyway. What's your opinion? What opinion are you talking about? You talking about what I'm saying as far as just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean that it can't happen? Let me know, Sankey, okay. What's good, man? Just join. Yep. Oh, okay, you're an atheist. Okay, gotcha. Okay. Well, hey, to each his own. To each his own, man. To each his own. What's going on, Camille? I appreciate it. What's going on, Duck? Appreciate y'all. Yeah, man, we talking about gardening today. So we're gonna get into it. This is our book right here, Back to the Basics. Hold on, so I don't want to lose my page. This is we're talking about gardening 101. Just a few things when it comes to gardening, like a kitchen garden, starting your first garden. I'm at I don't know what that means, Hakeem. But we're talking about gardening. So this is our book, Back to the Basics, right? Well, not our book, but I'm just saying this is the book that I kind of been going over, the last few days. I like how we can disagree with each other, but exactly, yes, exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just the thing about it. It's all about respect. It's all about respect, family, and I'm all about that. Oh, I have a garden. Okay, cool. Yeah, what's going on, Ruth? Yeah, so the kitchen garden, right? So let's just jump into it, right? We got enough comments in the chat. Oh, okay, Hakeem. Okay, I see what you're saying. But yeah, let's keep it respectful, everybody in the chat. You know what I'm saying? And let's talk about garden. Let's talk about the main thing, because when it comes to homesteading, like, yes, you got the chickens, you got the it's all about money. You got the livestock, you got a lot of the things that you want to do as far as, when it comes to homestead and being self-sufficient. However, I feel like gardening is one of the first things, or one of the first skills that you should learn, and one of the first things that you should kind of put some effort into learning and establishing, which is your garden. Because, you know, when it comes to growing food, like, of course, yes, a lot of us, we eat meat, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you need to learn how to grow some vegetables. You need to learn how to grow like a lot of the different things that you can survive off of. You see what I'm saying? A lot of the different grains and vegetables and all of that type of stuff. So when it comes to back to the basics, homestead and self-sufficiency, you need to know how to garden. You need to know how to store seeds. You need to know how to start seeds. You need to know how to plant things. You need to know how to establish a garden. You need to get the tools that is needed for your garden so it can thrive. You know what I mean? And so this is part 3 of this book, Back to the Basics. I recommend everybody get this book. If you want to become self-sufficient, you want to homestead, buy this book. It's on Amazon. Just search up Back to the Basics by Abigail Gearing. That's her name. So this is the cover of the book, right? And it talks about a lot of different things. It talks about building barns and drilling wells and keeping livestock and vegetables and preserving food and all that type of stuff. I'm gonna have to get somebody as an admin in the chat, because it look like some trolls in here. What's your favorite vegetable you farm? My favorite vegetable to grow, because I don't really farm vegetables. You know, we just have a kitchen garden. For those of you who don't know what a kitchen garden is, it's basically like a garden that you're just growing your own food for your kitchen. You know what I mean? So like, I don't necessarily farm, you know, specific crops. I just have a kitchen garden. So, but one of my favorite things to grow, I would say potatoes, sweet potatoes, things like that. I like to grow okra as well. Okra, I love it. But part 3 of this book, right? The kitchen garden. And I just want to hit on a few things, right? And this author, he does a great job, or they do a great job of talking about just how to get started. Because a lot of people don't know, like, okay, where do I start? What's step 1? And so one of the basic things that you're going to need to know to get started is, okay, how do I establish a garden? What tools do I need, right? And how do I plan it out? You say, can you be an admin? Most definitely. Okay, that's good. That's racist though, Hakeem. Yeah, man, I'm gonna get you as an admin, Duck. That's how you do it. That's what I do. It's kitchen garden. Exactly. No waste. Exactly. Cast iron. Hold on, Duck. Let me make you a. I just made you a moderator. Okay. There you go. Let me know if you're able to moderate now. I just made you a moderator on there. Y'all please hit that like button too. But no, exactly. Cast iron. Kitchen garden. Like, that's just growing the things that you're gonna eat, right? And so when it comes to gardening, for people who are new to it, who, you know, they've never grew anything in their life, all of that type of stuff. Where do you get started? How do you get started? What do you need to get started? So first and foremost, of course, you want to identify where your garden and everything is going to be at, of course, but you're going to need some basic tools. And so on this is page 142, and it talks about some basic tools. So I went and kind of highlighted some of the things, but these are some of the most essential tools that you're going to need to garden. A spading fork, right? So like a fork, like a pitchfork, but like a spading fork, right? A rake, a hoe, a watering can, a garden spade, or a round point shovel. In addition, a string and 2 stakes are helpful for laying out rows, right? And then gloves, of course. So these are some of the most basic tools. So a garden spade, a shovel, round point shovel, a hoe, because you're gonna need something to till the land, to rake the land, to grade the land. You see what I'm saying? And these are manual tools. Now, if you want my opinion as far as like modern day tools that you can use, like power tools and stuff, get you a tiller. You can get an electric tiller, you can get a gas tiller, but get you a tiller, you know. And of course you want to have the hand tools like the rake and the, you know, the shovels and different things like that. But get you a tiller, get you a good tiller. There's nothing wrong with it. I suggest a gas tiller, although I have an electric one. I suggest getting a gas one. They're just more powerful. You don't need to go out and get, you know what I'm saying, tractors and all that stuff with all the attachments unless you want to, but a tiller, a standard tiller will do you. You know what I'm saying? Get you some little mini shovels and stuff, mini rakes and stuff like that. But those are like just some of the essential tools you're gonna need. And also you're gonna need some scissors or some sort of like pruning scissors or something like that. So when you go to harvest, you know what I'm saying, your vegetables. So these are some of the most basic tools that you're gonna need. And right here, it shows you what they look like right up here. It shows you what the tools look like, what you're gonna need. And so that's how you get started, but you want to identify a space to where you're going to start your garden, right? A space that gets enough sunlight, you know what I mean? A space that's not like too like low, that collects water. So you're gonna need somewhere where, you know what I'm saying, when it rains, the water, it flows away from it. You know what I mean? But it's also in a place to where it's getting enough sun. You don't want to go gardening, you know what I'm saying? And it's a bunch of trees and stuff. You're not going to have enough sun coming to your plant. So you got to pick a great spot. Yeah, I can moderate now. Okay. Can you start posting the vegetables when you cook and the stuff like a cooking video? Most definitely. Yeah, my wife, she got some videos like that as well. Don't make me a mod. I shirt responsible. No, most definitely. I think one mod is enough, but yeah, if it get too crazy, I'll make you a mod, cast iron. But yeah, I can make videos like that. But my wife, she has videos like that as well, right? But yeah, you want to pick a nice spot, you know, to garden at, but you also want to make sure you have the right tools, right? So those are the basic tools. And look, a good point that he talks about right here, that the author talks about, buy good quality tools. I preach this a lot. Like, buy good quality anything, but especially tools, because in the long run, you're gonna save a lot of money and you're gonna save a lot of headache and you're gonna save a lot of time. Like, if you buy tools that are cheap, or you know that you, oh, I got them on sale, I got them for a deal, or whatever, then those tools don't usually end up being the best quality, and they'll end up breaking, or you know what I'm saying, just falling apart and not lasting as long as a good tool will. That's why it's good to invest up front. It's good to invest up front. Just go ahead, spend the extra money or put in the extra effort, whatever. But make sure you buy quality tools, because it's going to save you in the long run. Oh, it sounds delicious. What's your favorite thing she makes? It just depends. But you saying as far as like vegetables from the garden? Order yourself some ladybugs, praying mantis, assassin bugs, saves on harmful chemicals, and I'm not a fan of neem oil. Okay, I'm gonna look into the ladybugs and all that type of stuff, you know, because I definitely love, you know, just natural things as far as like to deter a lot of different pests and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I don't like the harmful chemicals either. Oh man, I gotta head out, brother. God bless. Man, how you gotta head out? You just asked to be a moderator. Great start, wise counsel for kitchen garden and quality tools. That part, exactly, Camille, exactly. But yeah, so you know, make sure you're planning out your garden, right? And so that's kind of what he goes into next. Is a successful garden requires planning. Anything successful, you know what I'm saying, for that point, anything you want to be successful at, it requires planning, but especially a garden. You can't just, I mean, you can, but it's not wise to just fly by the seat of your pants and shoot from the hip, you know, when you're starting a garden. Now, by all means, if you just want to take action, then, you know, you can do that. But a successful garden where you want to have an abundant harvest, you want to have all of the harvest as far as tomatoes and carrots and cucumbers and all that good stuff that you're growing. If you want that stuff in abundance, then you're going to need to make sure you plan it out. Make sure you write it down. I'm telling you something, there's something powerful about putting a pen or pencil to paper and writing something down, or even you could jot it down in your phone or whatever, but make sure you put it down somewhere. Don't just leave it in your head. Plan it out, write it out. Like, that's one thing that you know, really was impressing upon my spirit, especially recently. Like, hey, you know, whatever your goals are, write it down. When you're home, when you want a homestead, write down what you want your homestead to look like. Or how many animals you want, what breed of animals, you know, how many of them you want, what's your goal for raising your food, how big do you want your garden, all of that type of stuff. Make sure you write it down. Don't write down what you think as far as what you can handle. No, write down what you truly want. So if you want an abundant garden, you know, write that down, because that's your end result. That's where you're gonna get to. But anywho, a successful garden requires planning. It was already writing. One in permanent ban wasn't so loud. That must be a spam account. Is that a spam account? Yeah. Let me remove that. I would love to have a garden. No, you can absolutely do it. Crop rotation is key. Plant some, yeah, yep, nitrogen. But I'm gonna talk about some of that, cast iron. I'm gonna talk about some of that. But so anyway, it says, and I'm gonna read just like the first paragraph. To get the most out of your garden plot, it is necessary to plan ahead. Whether you have an established garden or are starting a new one, the best time to prepare is in the off season, well before planting time, right? So to get the most out of it, because you want to get the most out of your garden plot. You don't just want to do this on a level to where it's like, well, I just take what I can get. No, if you want the most out of it, it's a troll. Please, they do that one to me too. Yeah, that's why I went ahead and hid that comment. What's going on, Leslie King? Yeah, that's why I went ahead and hid that, because I figured that was a troll account, right? But anywho, it is necessary to plan ahead, right? Whether you have an established garden or a new one. So even if you're not new to gardening, even if you already have an established garden, and you know the next growing season is coming up, you want to make sure you plan ahead of time. So you want to make sure that you can get the most out of it. So you're writing down what you want. You know, you just pretty much plan it out. Aquaponics is great fishing veg. Yeah, exactly. But look, one of the most important things that I want to highlight right here, it's best to prepare in the off season. So when it's not planted, when the spring ain't here, when it's wintertime, when it's cold, that's the best time to start preparing. That's the best time to start planning, because now you're getting ahead of the game. You're getting a head start. It's always best to plan and prepare in the off season. When you have the time, when you have the you know what I'm saying, the wherewithal to do it. That's the best time to start planning. So yeah, you might not be able to go out and you know, get to the plow right now, but at the same time, you can say, okay, when spring comes, this is the first few steps that I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna, instead of starting seeds, I'm gonna plan to just go and buy some starts. So now I'm gonna start doing some research on, okay, where can I go and you know, get some good quality starts from? You know what I mean? That way I could just go ahead and plant. Okay, so I don't want to do the in ground this time. I'm gonna use my raised bed. So let me start preparing my raised beds. Let me start putting some compost in there. Let me start getting that soil right. If I want to do irrigation to make my life easier, let me go ahead and start preparing all that stuff now. That way, when the weather changes and the last frost comes, I'm able to just go out and start running. Plant some. What do you mean plant some salmon and tuna? You talking about with the aquaponics? But yeah, so you want to be able to just not worry about having to take the time to plan and prepare when the time has come for you to start growing, for you to start, you know, doing what you're supposed to do. I already have that done. That way you could just start running. That way you could just, you know what I'm saying, go and get your hands dirty, put your hands in the soil. Your soil is already prepared. It's rich. You don't have to have or add any amendments to it. You see what I'm saying? You don't have to do all of this type of stuff, you know, to try to get ready, because you are already ready. So do it in the off season. Put the fish heads in the soil. No, that's a great tip. I actually do that. So when I go fishing and stuff, and I fillet my fish or whatever I do, clean them and stuff, I put the fish heads, the guts, I put all that. I'll bury it, or I'll either put it in compost. But I usually like to bury it around the base of my fruit trees. So like, say if I have a chicken that dies, or if, you know, like I said, I got some fish that, you know, I done filleted and all that type of stuff, I go and put those remains, I bury them at the base of my fruit trees, because that is a great fertilizer. That is a great fertilizer. Those fruit trees or those plants or whatever you bury it by, it's going to eat off of that. It's going to be very, very good for the soil. Worm bin. Yes, a worm bin is great as well. I'm actually about to start my worm bin. I'm going to start some worms, you know what I'm saying, and start doing, you know, just raising my own worms and stuff like that, because again, all of these things will help your overall soil. So when you have like a lot of worms and stuff in a worm bin, you can add a lot of those worms into your raised beds, into your soil. But see, this is what I'm talking about as far as preparing in the off season. You say you work well on the field. I don't know what that means, but yeah, I guess so. I use man-made lake water. The reason is it doesn't get polluted from tributary. See, that's a good tip right there. Lake water, yeah. And see, if you in the city and stuff, that may be a great option. Like if you in the city and you know, like the tap water that you get from the city, you know, if it's not good, yes, lake water, pond water, different things like that will definitely be more beneficial to your garden and stuff like that. And even collecting rainwater if it's legal where you're at. He's farming and he is black. He is a black farmer. Yeah, I'm a black farmer. Absolutely. Bro works are black. Wait. What's that? Bro works or black gold worm tea is great. I don't know what that means. But yeah, worm farming is good. No, I ain't in Vietnam. Worms, in my opinion, I don't ever put fish in my garden directly, but I compost everything, and then I had seems to work really well. Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, to each his own. But you know, I haven't Well, I've had success, you know what I'm saying, when I bury like my fish carcasses and stuff like that. I had success. But like I say, mostly what I'll do is I'll put them at the base of my fruit trees. And that's why, honestly, I think my pear tree did very well this year. My pear tree did very, very well this year because I buried a lot of stuff around the base of my pear tree. I'm talking about dead chickens, fish carcasses, all that type of stuff. That's what I did. Oh, I'm located in Southeast Georgia. I used to have pet worm. He was very different. Man, come on, man. If you trolling Ace, I'm finna block you. And Mortimer the Goose, if you trolling, matter of fact, I'm finna get you up out of here because we ain't hide user from channel. There we go. Yeah, appreciate it. So, all right, let's get back to it. A successful garden requires planning. So plan in the off season. Plan in the off season. Do all of these things when you know you don't necessarily have to. Fayetteville, Fayette County, Georgia. That's up near Atlanta, right? Fayetteville, Georgia. I think that's up near Atlanta. All right, so companion planting. Free blood and bone meal, burying carcasses. Exactly. I'm trolling. Yeah, if you trolling, I'm gonna put you in timeout. Put you in timeout. That's what I'm gonna do. Yes, by Atlanta. Okay, cool. Yep. But yeah, so companion planting, that's the next thing that it talks about. And see, this book is a very, very good book for beginners. This book is a very good book for beginners because it breaks it down to elementary terms. You see what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, especially those of us who have been gardening or been homesteading, like we understand the lingo, we understand a lot of the different things that come with it. But as a beginner, you want to be able to get the understanding at an elementary level. But this book does a great job of that. So companion planting, right? For centuries, and I'm just reading a little bit from this excerpt. But for centuries, observant gardeners have noticed that certain vegetables seem to thrive in the company of one plant while doing poorly in the company of another. I have cows and buffaloes in Thailand. My friend in Vietnam. Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. What's up, bro? That's your own land. If so, I'm on that train right now. Yeah, this is my own land. Yes, sir. Tip Top Health. Yeah, this is my own land, man. We homestead / farm, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, we just under 6 acres. I got to bounce. I sub, former farmer. I could talk gardening, cooking all day. See, yeah, most definitely, Cass. Now I appreciate it. Appreciate it, man. I'll catch you on the next one. But anywho, so companion planting, right? And this is just one of those things, again, that a beginner is great for a beginner to know because you can plant certain things next to each other and they'll thrive, or you could plant certain things next to each other and they won't thrive, they won't do well. So it's about matching the right plants with the right plants so they can thrive and you can have an abundance and you can get the most out of your garden. But that's called companion planting. And so this is the thing. I always say like this, right? Stop. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. So if there's research, if there's information out here that people have already put years or decades or centuries of research into, it's best to just not reinvent the wheel and learn from them. So we know that there's been research into what type of plants do well with other plants. There's no need to go experimenting and say, well, I'm gonna try to grow this with this. You can already research what does well with what. So it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about taking advantage of the knowledge and the information that we already have through books, through research, through the internet. You see what I'm saying? So right here, it gives you like a little chart of what vegetables do well with what and what does poorly with what. That won't produce abundant crops. Use natural fertilizer if you want to avoid synthesized fertilizer. Go organic if you want to. Are you referring to what I said about burying the like carcasses? Because that's natural. Or you might be responding to another comment. Hey man, greetings from England. What's going on? Shout out to England. What you farming? I just homestead. You know this. I'm just talking about kitchen gardening. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just homestead. I raise livestock. I, have gardens, fruit trees, all that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I butcher my own meats. Man, this wind is really crazy today. But let me know if I'm making sense so far. Let me know if this is good. Let me know if y'all getting anything out of this. So I'm gonna talk about some of the vegetables, what pairs of vegetables do well with what and what does poorly with what. So the first thing is asparagus, right? So if you want to grow asparagus does well with parsley and tomatoes. So if you're growing asparagus, make sure you're growing some parsley beside it, or make sure you're growing some tomatoes beside it. You can take this or leave it, but I'm gonna drop $1 million a game for you right now. Compost tea, worm tea, yeast fertilizer, and ormus are guarantee your yield have a better, healthier garden. I appreciate that, Viva. I appreciate that. and use bokashi in your compost pile. See, that's free game, y'all. That's in here. That's free game. That's free game. But yeah, I appreciate that. I appreciate that $1 million worth of game. But all right, so asparagus. Asparagus does well with parsley and tomatoes. Bush beans. You want to grow bush beans. They do well with beets, carrots, cucumbers, marigolds, and potatoes. What do bush beans do poorly with? Fennel, garlic, onion. So if you want to grow bush beans, it's not good to pair it or grow fennel, garlic, onions right next to it, right? All right, cabbage. Cabbage does well with beets, celery, corn, dill, onions, sage, sunflower. So that's a lot to choose from. And see, that's the thing. Like, you can just pick and choose. And see, it's not about growing everything. It's about growing what you're going to eat. That's why it's called a kitchen garden, because what you take from that garden, you're going to put in your kitchen and you're going to eat it. Oh, you back? Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm like, I done made you a mod and you talk about you got to go. But I ain't gonna be too long. But you know, we just talking. Let me know if this making sense though. Let me know if I'm making sense. Let me know if this is good information. All right. So, and that's why. Oh, back to what I was saying. It's called a kitchen garden for a reason, because what you're growing is going to your kitchen. So whether you want to grow cabbage, that don't mean you got to grow all these because they do well with cabbage. But if you gonna eat some beets or celery, then you can grow that. But it ain't no sense of trying to grow everything. Just grow the key things, and then as you start to do well and start to get used to gardening and start to become comfortable with it, then you can add on more things. You see what I'm saying? And you can plan that stuff out. But again, this is what cabbage does well with. This is what it doesn't do well with: fennel, pole, beans, tomatoes. So if you growing cabbage, it does poorly with fennel, pole, beans, tomatoes. Cantaloupe, things that it do well with: corn, sunflowers. Things that it does poorly with: potatoes, carrots. Carrots do well beside leafy lettuce, parsley, tomatoes. It does poorly with dill. Grow durian, it's delicious. I don't think I can grow durian where I'm at. I don't think I got the right climate for that. Cucumbers. I grow a lot of cucumbers. I love growing cucumbers. I ain't gonna lie, because when I first started gardening, that was one of the crops that I got the most yield from, which was cucumbers and tomatoes. You see what I'm saying? And look, you can do a lot with cucumbers. You can make pickles, you can make relishes, all that type of stuff. Because that way it lasts longer. You know what I mean? Cucumbers. So the things that it does well with: beans, cabbage, corn, peas, radishes. Things that it does poorly with: aromatic herbs, potatoes. So if you got an herb garden, it's not wise to plant your cucumbers right next to it because it does poorly with herbs. All right, so I'm gonna just leave that right there. Well, no, let's talk about lettuce real quick. So lettuce does well with carrots, cucumbers, onions, and radishes. It doesn't do poorly with anything. So you can pretty much grow lettuce wherever you want to grow it at. It's gonna pretty much thrive. Same thing with onions. Onion does well, exceptionally well with beets, cabbage, lettuce, tomatoes. It doesn't do poorly with anything. So lettuce and onion, you can pretty much grow them anywhere, next anything, and it won't really matter. All right, so that's companion gardening, right? That's just something that you could put in your back pocket and say, okay, if I'm going to be growing 10 different crops, what will do well with what? If I'm doing it in a raised bed garden, what can I plant in that raised bed garden and they'll do well with each other, and what does poorly with what? So I know not to put this next to this. Man, that's my go-to fruit. He can grow it if he makes a greenhouse. Yeah, definitely greenhouse for sure. That's a good point to say, because I would definitely be the one to grow everything at once. Yeah, man, and I've been like that before. That's why I'm saying, like, and I'm really just giving y'all the tips and the advice that I wish I would have got. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm the type of person where I go and try to grow a whole bunch of stuff at once, because I'm just the type of person I want to learn it all. But it's like, no, take your time, pace yourself. But most importantly, plan it out. Plan it out, put some thought into it. Don't just go out and just do stuff. Now, it's good to have action, but you don't want to have all action, no planning. You want to have a balance of both. Plan, action. Because this the thing, a lot of people think, well, yeah, I'm about action. And it's like, yeah, that's good in certain cases, but as you get older and as you get more mature, you realize, hey, I can't just act all the time. I got to think sometimes before I act. Because it's good to be the person that acts, but it's not good to be the person that acts off of impulse with no thought. Facts, for sure. I don't know if you started grafting your potatoes, tomatoes together, but that's a good way to get the most out of a potato plant. Okay, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that. But thanks for that information. Thanks for that information. All right. So then, last thing I want to talk about today, and then we'll get more. If y'all want to talk more into gardening and y'all have specific topics, let me know. But I just, excuse me, I just had some key points that I wanted to hit from this chapter. You know what I'm saying? That I feel like will benefit just the beginner gardener. You know what I'm saying? Gardening 101, right? So again, planning out, having the best tools, having good quality tools. Name of the book again, it's called Back to Basics. It's called Back to Basics. You can look on Amazon. It's probably like 20 bucks. You know what I mean? But just a few things like companion gardening, because that's something that the average beginner wouldn't know. So they, oh, so what about this? Okay, so I can plant. You mean to tell me I can plant, you know, 2 plants and they'll thrive together? You know, or if I plant something by something, then it won't do as well. So it's like things that beginners wouldn't know. All right, so this right here talks about organic fertilizers. And I know y'all was hitting on this in the chat a little bit earlier. But tan is good also, so is lychee. Yeah, so these are some types of organic fertilizers, what it contributes, and other things you should know. All right, so the first thing is bone meal. I know somebody mentioned that in the chat earlier. So bone meal is a great organic fertilizer. But I'm gonna be real with you, like when you're having a kitchen garden and you're growing your own food, you want to use organic fertilizer. You want to use heirloom seeds. You want to use organic everything. You don't want to spray all of these different, you know what I'm saying, the stuff that they spraying on our main food supply. You don't want that if you growing your own food. That just defeats the whole purpose. You might well just go to the grocery store. If that's the case, you see what I'm saying? So you want to make sure organic. As much as you can be organic. You feel what I'm saying? I don't like American fruits. I love Asian fruits. Well, I like both. I love American fruits and Asian fruits. God bless you. I appreciate it, Amelia. I appreciate it. Rose Real says, save your chicken bones. You can make bone meal with it. Exactly. You sure can. You can make, and I'm gonna give y'all another tip. And I learned this, I want to say from Lead Farmer, right? But another, and I don't know if it says it in this book, but another organic fertilizer, and then something you can add to your chicken feed as well. So if you raise chickens and you know what I'm saying, you get the eggs, dry those eggshells out and grind them up. You can use that in your garden. You can use that in your chicken feed. Give it right back to them in their feed. But that's another thing. The crushed up eggshells, those are very good. Pesticides are horrible for your health. Exactly, they are. That's why I say if you having a kitchen garden and you growing your own food and you growing your own vegetables, it makes no sense to go out and get all of these different types of sprays and chemicals and all this stuff that has pesticides and herbicides in it. Greenhouse seems to be even better with all the chemtrails. Yeah, I definitely want a greenhouse. I'm gonna probably build my own. But yes, greenhouse definitely coming soon. All right, so a catalog of organic fertilizers, right? So these are some things. So bone meal, right? Bone meal contributes phosphorus 20 to 25%. Other things you should know, very slow acting, but will not burn roots. So bone meal is great, but it's slow acting. So it's something that it's not gonna be, you're not gonna see an immediate change. But at the same time, it's not gonna burn your roots. It's not gonna be harmful to the roots of your plants. So bone meal is a great fertilizer. Compost. So composting, and look, you can have a simple compost method, a simple compost bin, right? Where your fruit, vegetable scraps, you know, you collect them and you put them in a pile or a bin or whatever, and you just turn it. You know what I'm saying? But composting can be very simple. Composting can be very simple. I be talking too fast sometimes. But compost, organic matter vary in proportion of all nutrients. So that's the best thing. So right here it says the best all-around organic fertilizer is compost. So if you want the best all-around organic fertilizer, compost, meaning various different organic matter from fruit scraps, vegetable scraps, all of that type of stuff. All of that is going to be the best all-around for organic fertilizer. What livestock do you grow? So sheep mainly right now and chickens. What y'all doing? Where y'all going? Stay where I can see you. Yeah, churning outside right now. But anywho, so the best, so if you want the best all-around fertilizer for your garden, you know, growing fruits, vegetables, all that type of stuff, compost. Compost, because it provides you the best all-around thing. So it's different nutrients for different things, right? Should also be used with chemical fertilizers. Oh no, but so we're gonna scratch that. We don't do the chemical fertilizers. Cottonseed meal. It adds nitrogen 6 to 9%, phosphorus 2 to 3%, potassium 1.5 to 2%. Low pH, good for acid-loving crops. So crops that love acid, cottonseed meal will be the best fertilizer. All right, dried blood and tankage. It adds nitrogen 5 to 12% and phosphorus 3 to 13%. One of the best organic sources of nitrogen. Aids growth of soil organisms quick acting. So this might be something that you might need to add in the off season to start preparing your if you're planting in the ground or your raised beds or whatever it is. That may be something that you may need to, you know what I'm saying, use in the off season to prepare. Because what does it say? It says aids growth of soil organisms. You want living things in your soil. You want this in your soil. So and by the time you plant, you want a lot of these living organisms to be established in your soil, to have a healthy, you know what I'm saying, balance of all of this stuff. So when it comes time to plant, the soil is already thriving. And I had to put a headline. Okay. Fish meal, fish emulsion. Nitrogen 6 to 8%, phosphorus 13%, potassium 3 to 4%. It's quick acting. So it tells you what's quick acting, what's slow acting, you know what I'm saying, what can be paired with what. So this is a very great, you know what I'm saying, catalog or chart showing you all the different organic fertilizers and how they need to be used. What's going on, Tommy? What's going on, brother? Appreciate you for tapping in. Appreciate you for tapping in. Okay, so I want to get into some of the manures, right? So you got cow manure, right? And so like, you ever see those bags of black cow that you can go get from Lowe's and Home Depot with the cow manure in them? That is very great for your soil. That is very great for growing certain things. So when it comes to the cow manure, nitrogen 0.6%, phosphorus 0.15%, potassium 0.45%, relatively low in nitrogen, can be used directly on garden without aging. So you know what I'm saying? It's low in nitrogen. It can be used directly on gardening. So you could put it directly on your plants, directly in your raised bed if you got stuff growing. You don't need to kind of like get it adjusted to the soil and all that type of stuff. Poultry manure, dried poultry manure, very high in nitrogen, should not be used on plants directly as it may burn them. So whereas the cow manure, you can use it directly on plants and you can use it directly in your garden, but poultry manure that's dried, it will burn your plant. So you don't want to use it directly on your plant. So that may be something you want to put in your compost pile or put in your soil for preparation in the off season. I believe slow acting cuts helps cut the cost with right timing of adding it. Exactly. Everything is about the perfect timing. Everything. You know what I'm saying? When you add it at the right time. Yeah, cow manure. Yeah, I just talked about that. All right. Wood ashes. Wood ashes, an old time standard, has alkaline effect on soil. So if you want to alkalize your soil, wood ashes. You see what I'm saying? Sewage may contain heavy metals that build up in the soil over the years. So that's something that you want to scratch off the list. That's something that you want to scratch off the list. You don't want to do sewage or sludge because it contains heavy metals. And over time, it's not going to be healthy for your soil. It may provide a quick acting or whatever the case may be, but over time, and so that's why I say you got to plan for the long game. Are you planning fall crops this year? Yeah, my wife is. She got some stuff. She doing a lot of leafy greens and cabbages and stuff like that. But yeah, and potatoes and stuff like that. But yes, my wife, she mainly the one who doing a lot of the garden right now. I just come in and kind of maintain it and beautify it and all that type of stuff. I'm new here and excited to be a part of this community. Most definitely. Hey, I appreciate you. Yeah, most definitely. We all about learning over here. One thing about it, you gonna learn over here. You gonna get encouraged, and we gonna keep it real. You feel me? You're very smart about the farm. Only difference, you do it in USA, not do it in Thailand. Hey, we all farmers though. We all farmers. You feel me? We all farmers though. We all getting back to the land. That's what it's about. No matter where you live at in the world. All right. Rabbit manure. As for goat and sheep manure. So basically it's the same as goat and sheep manure, which is relatively high nitrogen content, should be aged or composted at least 3 months before using in the garden. So goat manure, sheep manure, rabbit manure, you want to compost this first. Same thing with chicken manure. You want to compost this first. Don't put it directly into your garden. Don't, because it's gonna harm your crops. And you're gonna be wondering why stuff dying. Do you grow weed too? No, I don't grow weed. We don't do nothing illegal over here. Nothing illegal. All right, so that's as much as I want to hit from the books. But I want to show y'all seed storage, right? This is another important part of gardening. Get from over there. Get from over there. Leave them alone. Leave them dogs alone, because you see I'm doing a video. And they gonna start acting crazy. All right, right here. Right here. So I got these bins off of Amazon, right? You can buy these bins for like $15. You know what I'm saying? 20 bucks. But this is how I store my seeds. This is what I tell people, right? So, you know, I know you got a lot of preppers and different things like that. And I'm sort of a prepper too, right? Well, really, I am a prepper, but I'm not like, you know, one of them extreme fear-mongering preppers. But I am a prepper because you should always prepare no matter what could happen. Whether you know, whether stuff bad happens or whether, you know, everything is copacetic, you should always prepare. But anywho, I say all this to say, I started this, you know, system and this, you know, collection of seeds and storing of seeds. I started this years ago when I first started gardening, because you don't want to have to go out and constantly buy seeds, right? You want to be able to, when you grow stuff, let it go to seed, get the seeds from it, save the seeds, collect the seeds. And you want to have seeds in the event that something tragic happens in this world, because you will always have a way to grow food. You can store up as much stuff as you want, but if you don't have nothing to replenish that storage, then what? It defeats the purpose. So you want to have somewhere where you can save your seeds and store your seeds. So right here, you know what I'm saying? We got it labeled, and so this bin, it comes with these little individual things right here. And so we just store, man, we got buku seeds, like buku seeds. So man, a lot of these seeds we done bought years ago. Matter of fact, this is I'm not sure if they still sell seeds, but years ago I used to buy from this company called Melanated Organics. Y'all go check them out. They black owned too. Melanated Organics. They got some real good heirloom seeds. As y'all can see, heirloom seeds, organic. You know what I'm saying? So Melanated Organics, shout out to them, man. But yes, you could buy seeds, you could save seeds. You know what I mean? What do grow? What do you mean standing on kindness? What are your thoughts on freezing seeds when you store them right? If it works, it works. I never knew that, you know what I'm saying, that I never really looked into freezing seeds. I just, you know, when I did research, it said it's best to store them in a dry place, in a well-ventilated area, and in some type of storage. So that's how I store my seeds. I don't know about freezing them. But if it works, it works. You know what I'm saying? Do what works. Sometimes certain things are meant not to say online. What do you mean? Oh, you talking about the guy who talking about the growing weed? Yeah, man, I don't pay that no attention because I don't do nothing illegal on this, you know, anyways. Does the seed stay fresh in the bin from grown fruits? Yeah, it stays fresh in here. That's what I'm saying. So like our seeds, matter of fact, I just show y'all some of them. So these are cucumber seeds, right? And like I said, we done been having this stored in here for years. Like I say, I know for a fact, like from Melanated Organics, I bought these seeds at least 3 years ago. These seeds, this specific seed right here has been in here for at least 3 years. So I'm gonna just show you what they look like. And these are, what seeds are these? These are cucumbers. These are cucumbers. I don't know if y'all can see that. Look at that. That's fresh. That's fresh. Put that in the ground right now. Or put it in the pot. Fresh, still. And I done had these for at least 3 years. And I know that because I ain't really bought any seeds like that since then, especially from this company. But shout out to Melanated Organics, y'all check them out. So yeah, but yeah, they store well in here. They store well in here. You think like me, I have no land, but I have 10 packs of seed. Thank you. I'm telling you, when you got seeds, you got food. When you have seeds, you have food. What do you grow mostly of? It just depends, but we do a lot of tomatoes, we do a lot of okra, we do a lot of leafy greens like lettuce, spinach, tomatoes. We do a lot, potatoes. We do a lot of sweet potatoes, and we haven't really been doing any regular potatoes, but we grow these purple sweet potatoes. And man, I don't know if y'all ever had a purple sweet potato pie, but I literally made one from the purple sweet potatoes we grew. I might post a picture of it on my community tab. I grow certain things on my farm, but I don't talk loud about it online. Hey, thank you. Yeah, man, everything ain't meant to be said. You feel me? Even if you don't do it or you do it, everything ain't meant to be said. So now I feel you, Paul. I don't know how true it is, but I saw 2 articles stating freezing will keep the germination high. That's what I'm saying. If it works, it works, brother or sister. If it works, it works, fam. I just never really know, you know what I'm saying? I just never really explored it. Man, that rain want to start coming down when the conversation get good. But yeah, so store your seeds. If you got seeds, you got food. So in addition to learning about gardening one-on-one, one thing you should always have in the back of your mind is, I need to have a storage of seeds. I need to be able to preserve my food. I need to know how to preserve my food. And we can talk about preserving more in depth probably tomorrow if y'all want to. Appreciate you, Faraday 92. Thank you. Welcome to the fam. Or do you grow mustard greens? Nah, I don't think my wife got any mustard greens. Nah, but she got some collards down here for sure. You know what I mean? But in addition, like I say, in addition to knowing how to garden, start your garden, all those first necessary steps, you need to know how to, you know what I'm saying, save seeds. You need to know how to collect, you know what I'm saying, seeds, let things go to seed, but you also need to know how to preserve your food. So we can talk about food preservation tomorrow from as far as what you grow. If y'all want to get into that, or if y'all want to get into something else, we can talk about that. Just let me know either in the chat or let me know in the comment section. But I'm finna get up out of here because it's raining. And that rain starting to come down. I don't want my phone to get wet. But man, I appreciate y'all for liking the live. I appreciate y'all for showing love. And I